Hey everybody, welcome back to Color Conversation.
Hello.
We actually have a very special edition. As you can see, we have a very young lady.
Person.
A mean person?
Mini person.
Oh, mini person?
Yeah.
Screw
you.
I was going to say a very young lady here. Welcome to Color Conversation with me, Rick.
And me, Nain.
And this young lady happens to be...
Hi, I'm Nisa Guzman.
Nisa Guzman. Wait a minute, I know another Guzman.
Yes.
Are you any relationship?
No.
No relationship. You're the illegitimate child of.
She just has my last name.
Okay. So you guys
We're not blood related.
Yeah. He found me on the street. He's like, "Oh, hey, you have the same last name as me. Come on, let's go home."
You might as well join us.
Yeah. I'll buy you tacos.
So this is obviously some crazy kid that we just found on the streets.
Did you hear that? I bribed her with tacos.
You bribed her with tacos. It's about your speed. So anyways, yes, this is in fact his daughter.
Yes, my oldest.
And also, the other fascinating thing about this young lady, she's actually one of our students. But lately, she hasn't been able to train because of all the things that are going on and stuff like that, schooling and whatnot.
But she had a very surprising showing. So was it 3-4 weeks ago?
Yeah, about there.
Yeah,
Ish.
about right. We were in Reno, and Danny, Rick, and I were discussing some roundtable stuff, and she comes into the suite. They're joining.
Yeah, mind you, this is like at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, she can't sleep. She's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" Start talking, and she just starts going on and on about the belated mind and her interpretation of it. And Danny is just shocked, but so proud at the same time. He starts giving her dollars. I'm tearing up, like I got some in my eye, kind of tears. And Rick is just, wow, take my wallet.
Yeah. So the thing that we're going to do today, and we want you folks to understand, this is not a setup or a gag of any kind. This young lady is actually very intelligent. How old are you?
11, almost 12, in about like 5 days.
5 days. It would be 12.
Actually,
So-
when this airs.
Yeah. So
You'll be
just under a teenager.
Yeah, just under a teenager.
But she has the mentality of like a 20-year-old.
Yeah. Emotionally, we're about the same level, her
Yeah,
and I.
pretty much. She's a lot brighter than her dad, for sure.
But if you guys ever get to meet my sister, you'll know that she has the mentality of a 48-year-old.
There you go.
She talks like she's been through it all. Like every time she's thinking, she looks like she's having memories of World War II. Like she's.
Wow. Well, that's pretty cool.
No, the thing is, she's not lying. It's completely true.
I'm
She's
sure.
like an adult that decides to act like a child versus the other way around.
That's the kid who asked me to make her a balloon chainsaw, right?
Yeah.
That's
I get it. She must have been like Jeffrey Dahmer in another life.
Oh my God.
She's a little different.
Just a little twist.
But those are my children. But today the focus is Nisa, because here's the thing. We haven't really trained with you other than doing a lot of like the basic movements. Like, have I taught you any theories or principles or anything like that?
No.
No. How did you pick up on the things that you were talking about that night?
Wait, let's put some of this in context first, because I don't want to jump right into all these things that she's going to actually spill out about it. You have to remember, folks, I've known Nain for 8 years, which means I've known her for about 10 years. Is the math right? Something like that. But anyways, when I first met her, she's this tiny little kid.
Yeah.
But every day that I've been training Nain, or most of the times that I'm training him, he's had to bring him into the class. Mm-hmm. So everything that she knows, she's probably picked up just by watching, and listening and observing. And because of that, she has this crazy memory thing that just really lets her understand what's going on. And her comprehension skills are really incredible in that the things that we talk about during class, or even when we're just hanging out at Starbucks talking about what we're going to do, she's able to throw them back at us, and with some ideas of her own.
Yeah, in her words.
It's
not just copying.
Again, folks, this is not a set thing. You know us, we don't choreograph anything whatsoever. We just found it interesting that this 11, soon-to-be 12-year-old young lady is able to explain in very good detail what it is we actually do. And And again, she's only really trained maybe about a month's worth of stuff with us.
Right, and it's all basic, just movements. I have her doing exercises at night, and that's it. Like we talk about the mechanics of it and how to refine the movement itself, but as opposed to like fighting theories, concepts, learning process, like none of that has been discussed with her.
Right.
It's just what she's picked up along the way.
Yeah. So now we're going to go ahead and delve deep into the mind of this young lady.
Still a little scary to think
The
about
deep, dark abyss of her brain.
Would you consider your brain a deep, dark abyss?
I don't consider my brain or any part of me a deep dark abyss. I just think that it depends on what you're thinking about that makes it a deep dark abyss. And it's not just thinking about sad things, it's thinking about anything, but because everyone is constantly thinking about things every single second of the day, you can always turn that into a deep thought of mind.
Right. So, what is your basic understanding of what we actually do in the Bladed Mind? I mean, just give it a simple rundown.
Like, if you were telling a total stranger that knew nothing about the Bladed Mind, what would you say the Bladed Mind is?
Well, honestly, I'd start off with saying that, because I already know how long you've been here and doing stuff with Queer Rick, but you've been taking me and Naya here, like, ever since we were little. Even before Naya was born, I used to just be the only one here. And all those times I've been, like, watching you guys doing your stuff. Believe it or not, I've actually been, like, listening. And almost all the stuff you guys have, like, been doing is kind of just, like, a part of me almost. So when you guys are teaching me the physical stuff, I already kind of know what to do. But since you guys are always not changing it around, but like creating new stuff to do and adding to each of the basic movements, not to make them more complex, but just to try new things out sometimes. Or with new students, how you just like to dummy it down a little bit and then...
She's very straightforward when it comes to stuff like that. She's like, yeah.
We don't like to use the word dummy down because we don't want people to feel stupid.
Lately we talk about the same language. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, totally unscripted.
What do you mean, sorry, folks? No, okay. So if you're not going to be completely honest with your students,
okay,
then
here we
what's
go.
the point? What's the point in telling them all the basic things that you already know how to do? Because like you've been doing this way longer than anyone else you've been recently teaching.
Right.
And yet you feel comfortable enough to share with them how to do things, the right way to do things. And that's another thing. I don't feel like there is a right way to do the kind of stuff that you guys do, because you're always making different ways of doing it. You're always finding new strategies or finding ways to make it easier. I guess I can't say dummying it down.
Shoot me now.
Okay, so what is the Bladed Mind then? What would you say it is?
Honestly, I feel like the Bladed Mind is a nice, safe place for people to be able to learn not only how to defend themselves, but how to really teach themselves, like not from you guys, but like after your teachings, they know like, okay, this is how I'm able to do this. And then I like to think that when people go home, they're like, okay, how do I take my own spin on this? Because not a lot of people do the things that you teach them the same way.
Right.
So they try to make it easier for themselves.
Huh.
And then after they do that, they come back and they're like, okay, I know what to do. And then since you are teaching them new things, you're kind of just like adding to what they've already learned.
Yeah?
Is that what I'm doing?
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
So, yeah.
I guess.
No, but I love the fact that you refer to the Bladed Mind as a safe place.
Right.
Because I feel like everyone's accepted. Like you don't treat
Even
people,
that guy.
Yeah.
Hey.
You don't treat people any differently, like just because of their like gender or color or however they may be different from everyone else. Everyone is their own special snowflake, and you like to treat all of them with care.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but you like just yesterday, you and I were in a car alone, and you mentioned something very similar in the sense of caring for the individual student to the point where they actually, confide in you and trust you.
Were you with us yesterday?
Were you listening?
No.
She was in San Jose. She wasn't even near us.
I wasn't even here.
Let me ask you this, because you obviously seem very intelligent, and I don't use the word "seem" in any bad way, but you're 11 years old. You shouldn't be knowing or even saying half the things you've just said. What happened to your childhood that you were like this? Because I know Dad, no Barbie dolls or anything like that. I mean, what the heck?
Nothing happened to my childhood, and yes, there was a lot of Barbie dolls and Dora and Backyardigans, and that was just for the basic things of.
You're a kid.
Yeah, I'm a kid. I'm gonna like different things than I do now. But for the longest time that I can even remember, I've been knowing about the Collie Conversation and how you guys
Before
are.
there was a Collie Conversation.
Before there was even a Collie Conversation, and how you guys are able to teach. And I never really let that take a toll on my childhood, because I'm not saying I had a bad childhood, but I'm not saying, oh my god, my childhood was so fantastic, I grew up to be such a good kid. Because honestly, I don't even think that about myself. I don't see how other people think that about myself.
So were you ever like the princess type kid, or?
Oh
like,
no, but I did like tutus. I did like feeling pretty and sparkly.
Mm-hmm.
But I never really thought of myself as like the center of attention. I never really liked being the center of attention. But I was very open, and I said hi to strangers on the street. And my parents were like, "No, don't do that. That could be dangerous." And I'm like, "But they're all so nice.
Not all of them.
I just want to say hi." Well, now I know that. But
Well-
like, as a 4-year-old, you don't have that mentality.
That's
You're
true.
not like,
So
okay, so strangers.
let
could be
me
dangerous.
let me mention this, because this is the thing that always made me laugh whenever Naeem would bring it up. One of the stipulations for her growing up to become a teenager was that Naeem told her, in order for her to be able to go out with her friends, wherever they may be, the mall or whatever, she had to learn martial arts. And of course, since he teaches the bladed mind martial arts, she was going to learn this. And that always made me laugh. But it rings very true that a parent, wants to have their kid know how to take care of themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's physical or even just be able to get on the phone, learn how to dial 911. Do you know that number? Do you know the number to 911?
Yes, and I also know that you don't need service or Wi-Fi to be able to call 911. So technically, you could call them anywhere at any time, and in that time span, I think you should probably keep yourself in a safe area if you're ever in a situation. Of
Right.
danger.
So here it is.
Look at him too when you talk.
Oh,
Both of us.
you don't have to look at me.
I'm uncomfortable looking at you. This
I
is
know
easy.
he's kind of ugly, huh?
No, I never said that. You put that in my mouth. That
Thank
was
you.
you.
But it's true. I don't know. But yes, that was the stipulation for it. Because I told her this. I said, look, if you don't want me hanging around,
Like
being
a
that
creepy
dad
old-
waiting for
creepy
you
old
outside
dad.
of the movie theater or walking around on the second level of the mall, just kind of keeping an eye on you, then I want to feel comfortable enough that you can take care of yourself.
Well, I think now that you know that I already know all these things and I know all the mental stuff, I don't think that you're going to be like, oh yeah, you could totally go anywhere, anytime by yourself.
No.
And that's the thing, because I never really found that as a problem. I never thought, oh my god, it's going to be so embarrassing having my dad follow me around everywhere. And I think that's what most teenagers are like embarrassed about, their parents following them around, because at one point they think their parents aren't cool anymore.
Do you think your dad is cool?
Yes, of course.
Really?
I do think my dad is cool. You're the one who's like, oh my god, he's so gross. He does all this weird stuff. But no, that's just
I
because
taught him a lot of the weird stuff.
That's because you two treat each other like douchebags, yet you love each other so much.
Ouch. So we have a bromance going on. Is that what you're
Yeah.
thinking?
No, you have your toxic romance going on.
Toxic bromance. Isn't that even just regular bromance?
No,
it's toxic
toxic
bromance.
romance.
So what you're saying is that I'm the other guy in his old relationship. with you.
Yep. That's why his shorts are in your car.
Yeah, the Naeem shorts, they've actually been in the car. We can't. That's why he never wears them.
That
Wow.
went off the rails so fast. Oh my god.
Now, folks,
Oh.
you got to believe that this really is his kid. Right?
That's yeah. I mean,
she's just falling in line with him.
Well, and to give you a little context of how she's been, because a lot of this is her natural ability,
Right.
is that since she was the age of 2, she's had a very good vocabulary.
Right.
Like her mother and I, we never did the baby talk. we hate people that do that. You know, no offense to anyone. You want to do what you do, whatever. Yeah. But for me, I took it very seriously that the first 5 years of their life, their brains are absorbing so much information, so much stuff, and that's going to catapult them later on or going to hinder them. There's kids who are like 5 or 6 that still, you talk like little kids. And I cringe every time I see them, but you've been arguing with me since you were 2.
Yep.
One of our arguments was, Daddy, I'm sorry, I can't be in the room because aren't I your princess? And as your princess, don't you want me to have free reign of the kingdom? Like, I don't understand why you want me to stay in the room. But no, if you want me to be your princess and stay your princess, I think I should be able to leave the room, because I was having some sort of meeting or something in the living room and she just argued her way through it. And I'm like, I can't refute any of that.
So you know who the man of the house is apparently.
You feel that way? You think you're the man of the house?
No.
Nayin is the slave to the kingdom.
No. Ever since Nael was born, she's been the man of the house.
Yeah, it's kind of true.
And I'm not saying, she gets everything she wants anytime, because no, you don't treat your children that way.
Nope.
But when she tells you something, you can't seem to argue with her. Like, you're in the middle on the phone talking with Kuya Rick or something, and she's like, "Can I have a hug?" And you're like, "Okay, sure."
She does.
Because you don't care anymore. And she won't. Sometimes she won't even ask. She'll just be like, "Dad."
Hug.
So let me ask you this, young lady, and I do say young lady because, in fact, you are. But your mindset or the way you think of things is pretty adult-ish, right? And which is what
more so than some of the people.
Yeah,
we know.
and which is why we're here today. Because, I mean, folks, listening to this kid, you can really understand why we wanted to have her on the show. I find it fascinating that in the day and age we live in now, a lot of kids are so over-nurtured that they're not allowed to be what this one has become. Yeah. Right? They've been given a tablet, an iPhone or something, to sit in a restaurant and you pay attention to only that, and this is all you're allowed to do. But yet I don't see that. I mean, I know when you guys have your gatherings with your family where there's a bunch of other kids.
Very helpful.
She almost becomes the nanny for all those other kids who are even older than her sometimes, right? And I find that to be very amazing. I mean, it's, you're going to go pretty far down the road if you stay on this road. If you listen to your dad, you'll never get there, so just ignore the heck out of him.
No, if I listen to either of you, I'm never going to go down that road.
Here, I'm trying to pad it for me. She's like, no, both of you are morons.
I love you both with all my heart, but both of you just,
Well, here's the thing, and this is the part that I'd like to emphasize on my end, because I grew up in the bladed mind. Now, I don't mean that I've been doing this since I was a little kid. I literally mean that I've matured because of my training through the bladed mind. Right. Mind you, she's about to be 12. I started this 8 years ago, which means she was around 4 when I started training. I wasn't the best parent at that point, but I still had criteria or focus on being a good parent. And that led me to the bladed mind, and all of a sudden, as I mature, my parenting has matured as well. Do I ever tell you can't do anything or your ideas are stupid?
Of course not. You're the one who always says, don't say you can't do it. Just say you can't do it yet, because you always think that people are able to mature or get better at something. But if they just quit and give up, and they'll start doing that if someone keeps telling them you can't, then they're never going to achieve it.
Dad ever drop you in your head?
Yes. I still have a dent, like right here.
That's so wrong. Oh my god.
You like that?
I did drop her on her face once.
No. I've gotten her.
So that's 2 that we know of now.
Before, and
one on the
I
face.
still have this mindset.
She didn't cry because you know how kids like to go boneless. So I was playing and I didn't expect it. So she went boneless and she went right on the grass. Then she gets up. She has grass on her face. She's like, "What the?" And she just looked concerned, like, "Well, how'd you do that?"
What the hell's going on? Why'd you do that? How could you?
That was it.
So twice that we know of them.
Twice that we know.
One in the back
Confirmed.
of the head, one in the face.
I've gotten hit with many balls in the face before.
It was one soccer ball one time.
No, not by you.
Oh.
Like the cousins. Like they play so rough. I once got a soccer ball
If you folks
to
know the
nose.
number to child services, we'd like to.
Oh my god. I promise I'm fine. Don't call the police.
It's not abuse. It's not abuse.
I promise.
It's 3 that I know of right now.
It's
so I'm-
roughhousing.
Oh,
Yeah.
roughhousing.
Come
Okay.
on. Well,
It's
because
just-
here's the thing. She her cousins. She has 2 older cousins. They're female, and they're at that age. One's 13, one's going on 13.
Yeah.
And they're going through the usual changes, and she's looking at him like, I don't want to do that.
I'm so close to them in age, and all they want to do is hang out on their phones and talk about boys. And sometimes they're not even talking about boys that are real. They're talking about 2D boys, and yes, I can agree. But
2D boys? What's this?
anime boys.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different conversation for later.
No, you get involved in that too, so don't even try to pretend like you don't.
Okay, fine. That I get involved with, but everything else they like to talk about, like fashion or doing their makeup or real boys or just being on their phones all day, that's never interested me. That's why at most family parties I see myself hanging out with the younger cousins because
A lot of them boys.
they still like to play around. They still like to have fun. And the second they all turned into teenagers, then they were just stuck on their technology. Even whatever it was that they could find, computer, phone, TV, it doesn't matter. And I get that sometimes you want to relax and just have some time to yourself, but that's literally all they do.
Hey, folks, incidentally, just so you know, the noise that you're hearing is we are here at Physique Magnifique at 387.
You got it right this time.
I did.
Okay,
387 Grand Avenue in
Avenue.
South San Francisco. Come down and join us if you ever need to work out.
We
There's a lot
are
of-
family friendly.
Yes, that's right. There's a lot of people.
Yes, Jim
Can't
and
speak
Futaba.
for these videos, but
Oh, the kid, yeah. The videos aren't family friendly. But the gym is family friendly. Jim and Futaba both know the babies, and we grew up. They grew up together, and so it's a family place. So definitely come on by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering what all that noise is.
Yeah. Boxers.
So back to this young lady.
Oh, right.
It's actually scary now to ask questions because all I know is I'm going to get shot down every time she says something. So I got to make some intelligent questions.
Right.
Otherwise, she's just
Do
sleep.
you want your glasses? Look the part.
in my conclusion,
My conclusion. So let me ask you this because you've known me for 8 years, about give or take whatever. The way I treat your father, and the way he's become almost like a surrogate son to me or whatnot. How do you think about that dynamics between he and I as far as that relationship we have as teacher-student? What do you think of that?
well, I'm gonna say this: it's definitely not like most teacher-student relationships, because
What does she know about other... Okay.
I go to